Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel for more Zeeworld updates. So the last update about once there was a king, Gayatri begins to suspect grandma and Swarna is pregnant for Lakan. The king comes to Savitri and asks her to shut her eyes. He gifted her a sari and says that he always wants to do something for her, to thank her. Grandma read his mind and suggested to give her a gift. Savitri wonders why grandma wants the king to come close to Savitri. The king asks if she dislikes it. She says that she loves it, and the king leaves and tears fell off Savitri's eyes. Grandma complains to the prince and Kokila that they behave so coldly. They haven't learnt a single tactic of royalty. Kokila says that this child is a result of Lakan and Tuana's resort. She will tell everyone about it. Grandma clutches her neck and she wants her not to ruin her dream. In the jail, the king mother says that she was right. Grandma did not change a bit. Gayatri asks why she is taking care of the king then, and why is she trying to make her and the king get close. This all doesn't prove that she was there with Rageshwari. The king mother says that there is something they are missing, and she asks her to recall what happened on the cliff. Maybe they can get a clue about the fourth person. Gayatri says that she doesn't know. She never got a clue about the fourth person. The king mother suggested that there must be someone who would have seen the fourth person. Gayatri says that the king chose the cliff, but there was a temple. Gayatri tells the king mother that there was a temple, that they did their outing and they left. The king mother asks if the puja towel was already there, and Gayatri says yes. The king mother says that there are two people in the temple, God and Pujari. Gayatri says that she is right. If there was flame, then there was a Pujari. He will tell them what happened on the cliff that day. There, a priest has a nightmare about what he has seen on the cliff, and he wakes up and cries that they will now kill him and they will move away from there. Gayatri says that she will find the Pujari tomorrow. The next morning, Savitri wonders whom to ask the Pujari of the cliff temple. A lady passing by tells Savitri that he left today morning. Savitri cries that it was her last hope. Only he could help her. The lady asks Savitri to pray in the temple and ties a black thread on her arm. Savitri wonders how many testimonies she has to take. Swarna sat in her room wondering if she would be able to give this child a good life. Grandma gets her food and she asks Swarna to take care of herself now. Swarna says that she is not in the mood. Grandma says that it is the time for her to abide by her elders. Swarna assures that she will eat later. Lakan comes to the room. Grandma says that it is good that he came here. He must make sure that Swarna takes care of herself and the child, and she turns to ask about Savitri. Lakan says that he did not see her since morning. Grandma thinks about finding out where Savitri has gone. Savitri comes back to the palace worried about the Punjari of the temple. Grandma comes in front of her and asks where she has been. Grandma says that she did not even tell Lakan about where she had gone. Savitri tells her that she went to get her medicine. Grandma asks her to care about the king's breakfast. Grandma looks at the black thread on her arm and asks if she had gone to the temple. Savitri says that she is not as crazy as to go to the temple in the morning. Someone tied it on her arm. The king was sketching Savitri's portrait. She comes with his coffee. He eyes the sketchbook. She catches his lie and says that two things doesn't suit him. First is bow tie and secondly is lie. Savitri says that every color gets bright when he wears it, but he will look nicer if he wears bright colors. The king says that this statement is familiar. She asks if he said so, or someone complimented him with it, then asks for the sketchbook. He says not now. She turns around to see the god's idol, and he asks if she wants something. Savitri says that her mother always used to get puja done with that black temple pujari, Ran Avdar, but he has left somewhere. The king says that he can find him for her. Savitri cheers and says that his heart is as big as his anger. She asks him not to tell anyone about it. The king asks why. Savitri says that everyone will consider him to be an idiot if they find out that he is doing all this for her, and she thinks that the king will for sure find that priest. Lakan tells Swarna that he understands her condition. She must trust him but take care of herself. Savitri comes in and watches them hugging. She scolded Lakan that what if someone had seen them like this? Everyone will suspect this child isn't Laksharaj but is. Swarna holds Savitri's hand and asks why she cares so much for her. Swarna says that only Gayatri cared for her this much. Savitri says that she is her maid and she has to take care of her. Swarna asks her. Savitri thinks that she will soon tell her the truth. Savitri comes to the king and the priest. Savitri asks if he is Ram Avda. He says he is not. Savitri apologizes, saying that she cannot get this puja done from him. The king asks why she is only concerned with the pujari only. They have an argument. Savitri finally says that only Ram Avda knows about what happened on the cliff that day. The king was shocked to hear Savitri says that only the priest knows what happened on the cliff. She says that no one else can do the puja. She cannot share the reason. Savitri leaves. The priest also takes his leave. Grandma watches this and wonders what she is playing now. Savitri comes to her room and thinks what she was about to do. What if someone comes to know about it? She cannot share it even with the king. If Rajeshwari's companion comes to know that someone is looking for him, she goes out in the corridor and fell down on the stairs and her foot ache. Grandma watches her and she thinks that if simple men try to walk on the path of this palace, then they will fall off. If she thinks that the priest will tell her about her, then she holds the pot with which she had thrown the water on the stairs, and Lakan comes there and helps Savitri. Lakan asks Savitri that she is injured and she needs to take some rest. The king calls Savitri looking for something. Rageshwari hands him his bow tie. She asks why he calls a maid and not his princess. The king says that he doesn't need to ask Savitri what he needs. He discusses with Rajeshwari that he wants to give a gift to Grandma that makes her feel he respects her a lot. Rageshwari says that Grandma doesn't need anything. The king says that it is alright. He will think himself about it. The king asks the servant about Savitri. She comes there and says that she has a muscle strain. The king makes her sit and he was concerned. She resists, but the king orders her to keep seated and he asks when it happened. It was swollen and he calls for warm water. Savitri tells him that it happened yesterday. He asks that why did she not tell him yesterday, and he keeps warm water towel on it. She remembers when on their wedding day, she had a pricked on her feet and the king forbids her to do any work or go anywhere now. Grandma says that the king is right because Savitri always wander everywhere. Now he can only stop her and shut her in her room. The king says that Grandma is right and he will drop Savitri by himself. Savitri holds his hand tight and he leaves. Grandma thinks that Savitri will now walk in the way that she shows. In the evening, Savitri tells the king that she cannot abide by his order. She has to find the pujari. The king argues why Savitri wants the pujari only. Savitri says that her mother used to say that only the pujari will do the puja. She took this promise from her mother. The people who can fulfill their mother's promises are lucky. She can give her life for her mother. The king calls her crazy. Savitri says that she called this to herself. She is better than him who doesn't respect his mother. The king leaves. Savitri was about to stand up, but Grandma stops her. She tells her that she brought Chanda and she will massage her feet with warm water to make her well soon. Savitri watches the time and says to Grandma that these are her feet and she could have prayed in such time. Grandma asks her for her help and gives her a few recipes that she has to make for Swarna. Savitri writes them uninterested. More than an hour has passed. Grandma asks that why is Savitri looking at the clock and is there a good moment passing by. Savitri thinks that it would only come when she will leave. The king was restless thinking about his mother's slaps. He wonders how to tell Savitri that his mother is not like her own mother and she never considered him as her own son, and he goes angry. Grandma tells the recipes to Savitri. Chanda brings her apples and she thinks about the recipe. Savitri thinks if Grandma is stopping her from meeting the priest and if the king's mother's suspect is right and she must do something. The king comes inside and takes Savitri out, saying that he has to prove something to her. In the car, Savitri asks the king where is he taking her. The king says that he wants to prove that he cares for her mother and he has come to know where the priest lives and he isn't sure if he is there or not. Savitri shuts his mouth and asks him to speak well. Savitri looks ahead and wonders what happened there. She hurries inside the house to find the priest and the priest has died. The king asks who else is there in his house. The people tells him about a widow and a son. Savitri cries and questions God how this can happen to her. She complains that why she was shown this way then. The king stops her and she hugs him and cries. Savitri says that it was her last hope. She cries on her way back. She wonders why the man lied that he had a son who will return tomorrow. She thinks about the lady who told her that the priest has a son. She asks the king to stop the car because she has to go back to the village. She says that this is a trick. She has to find the priest because he cannot die. The king says that she has seen it herself. Savitri says that she watched the photo and not the dead body. and the king will not understand and she leaves. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more updates just like this, and please like my videos and share. Thank you.